My beloved brothers and sisters, every one of us will face moments in life when it seems like the world is closing in on us. Times when the accusations are false, when people speak behind our backs, when those we trusted turn their backs on us. You feel helpless, you feel broken, and you wonder, where is the justice? And it is in those very moments that you must remind yourself, be patient, Allah is your defender. You are not alone. The trials you go through are not without purpose. They are not signs of abandonment, but rather they are signs that Allah has chosen you for something higher. Look into the lives of the prophets, those who were the closest to Allah, and ask yourself, were they not tested far more than you and I? Did they not go through moments where even their own people turned against them? But what did they do? They were patient. And Allah defended them in ways that defied human comprehension. Many times in life we will face moments where our silence becomes our only voice. Situations will arise when people will say things about you that are completely untrue. They may accuse you, slander you, mock you, or even treat you unjustly for something you had no part in, and you find yourself torn. Your heart wants to scream the truth. Your ego wants to defend your name. But your faith tells you, be silent, for Allah is watching. That silence is not weakness, it is not passivity. It is an active choice of dignity, of strength, and of deep trust in Allah's justice. You are not remaining silent because you do not know how to respond. You are remaining silent because you are leaving your matter to the one who knows the truth, even when the world is deceived by falsehood. Sometimes we forget that not every lie needs to be addressed. Not every attack needs a counter-attack. There is a level of spiritual strength that comes from remaining quiet when your Lord knows the truth. Allah has promised in His book, indeed, Allah defends those who believe. He did not tell you to go around defending yourself at every moment. He told you that if your faith is sincere, He will take it upon Himself to clear your name, to purify your record, to protect your reputation, and to honor you when others try to disgrace you. That kind of trust cannot come without patience. That kind of inner peace cannot develop without faith that Allah is sufficient for you. You see, when you argue with people who only want to see you fall, you lose twice. First, you give them your energy. Then you open a door for your own anger to destroy your peace. But when you choose to remain quiet, when you choose to place your reliance upon the Lord of the heavens and the earth, you walk away with a soul that is content. You walk away knowing that you answer to the most important witness, Allah Himself. That is a level of serenity that no one can take from you. People will continue to talk, but their words will never change the truth that is known to your Creator. Sometimes the best answer is no answer. When people twist your words or question your sincerity, remember that your silence could be the greatest proof of your strength. The more noise they make, the more calm you must be. And let me tell you, your silence does not go unnoticed. The angels are writing, your Lord is watching, and the heavens are recording every unjust word spoken against you. One day, those very words will be brought forth. One day, your silence will shine brighter than their accusations. That is the beauty of divine justice. It doesn't rush, but it never fails. Let's reflect upon the life of the Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. Thrown into a well by his brothers, accused unjustly by the wife of the minister, imprisoned despite his innocence. And yet, he remained patient. He didn't scream his innocence to the world. He didn't try to destroy those who wronged him. He placed his trust in Allah. And what was the result? Allah not only cleared his name, He raised him to a position of power and respect. The same people who threw him into a well were forced to acknowledge his greatness. The same people who tried to humiliate him had to stand before him in need. This is what happens when you remain silent for the sake of Allah. This is what happens when you choose sabr over ego. My brothers and sisters, let people say what they want. Let them create their stories. You continue walking with integrity. You continue serving with sincerity. You continue living with taqwa. When you focus on pleasing Allah, He will take care of those trying to displease you. He will expose the falsehood. He will elevate your rank, and He will do it in ways that leave you in awe. That is why your silence, when filled with trust in Allah, is louder than any voice trying to bring you down. Now, some may ask, isn't it better to defend yourself? Shouldn't we speak out when people slander us? And yes, there are times when it is important to clarify, to speak with wisdom, to protect others from being misled. But even then, your tone, your intention, your calmness, these matter deeply. Speak not from ego, speak from principle. And if speaking adds more fire to the fitna, then your silence is better. If your words will not bring benefit, your silence becomes an act of worship. This brings us to another beautiful reality. Patience is not just about being quiet. It's not just about holding back tears or swallowing your pain. True patience is trusting Allah's plan even when it hurts. It's easy to say, I have sabr when life is smooth. But the real test of patience comes when everything goes wrong and you still say, Alhamdulillah, when the world misunderstands you, when people walk away, when doors close, when your prayers feel unanswered, and yet you still trust that Allah has not forgotten you. That is patience, that is real strength. The Prophet Ayub, peace be upon him, lost everything, his health, his wealth, his family, but he didn't lose his patience, he didn't lose his faith. He said, indeed adversity has touched me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful. Look at the choice of words. He didn't blame, he didn't complain. He turned to Allah with humility, with recognition of His mercy. And what was the result? Allah returned everything to him and more. That is the fruit of patience that trusts in divine wisdom. Sometimes you are being tested, not because you did something wrong, but because Allah wants to purify your heart. Sometimes the people who hurt you are tools used by Allah to elevate you. If only you knew what was being written for you because of your patience, you would beg for more trials. Because every moment you held back your anger, every tear you cried in sajda, every time you chose to remain silent when you could have spoken with fury, was recorded as reward beyond measure. Do you think Allah is unaware of what you endured? Do you think your broken heart is unseen? No, my brother, no, my sister, Allah knows, and He will repay you in full. Your patience is a shield. It protects you from regret. It protects you from falling into sin. It keeps your tongue clean when the heart is boiling. It is your path to the companionship of the righteous. The Prophet said, how amazing is the affair of the believer. Everything that happens to him is good. If he is tested and he remains patient, it is good for him. If he is blessed and he is grateful, it is good for him. That is the mindset of the believer. That is the strength that allows you to survive even the darkest nights. My beloved brothers and sisters, life will test you in the most unexpected ways. And each time you'll be faced with two options: respond from your ego or respond from your faith. Patience is choosing to hold on to Allah when everything around you is falling apart. It's smiling at someone who hurt you, not because you agree with them, but because your character is rooted in the Sunnah. It's forgiving someone who doesn't deserve it, because you are seeking forgiveness from the one whose mercy is infinite. Don't think that being patient makes you small. It makes you great. The strongest people in history were not those who shouted the loudest. They were those who remained firm with the softest hearts. Patience does not mean you feel nothing. It means you choose to act with ihsan even while feeling everything. You may be crying inside, but your heart says, I trust Allah. You may be alone, but your soul says, He is with me. You may be wronged, but your conscience says, let Allah be my defender. And He will be. Sometimes not immediately, sometimes not in the way you expect, but always in the best way for your akhirah. When Allah defends you, He does so completely. He clears your name. He strengthens your soul. He brings you peace. And He writes your name among the patient ones, those whom He has promised Jannah without reckoning. Can you imagine walking into paradise and hearing, this is the one who was patient. This is the one who endured. Every insult you bore, every betrayal you endured, every tear you cried in secret, it's all being recorded. Not one drop of your patience is wasted. Someone wrongs you, smile not because you enjoy the pain, but because you know your reward is safe. Walk away not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to let Allah handle what you cannot. Be silent not because you don't have a voice, but because your silence is louder than their lies. And be patient not because life is easy, but because you know that your Lord is just, your Lord is kind, and your Lord never abandons the one who puts their trust in Him. One of the most powerful comforts for the heart of the believer is knowing that no matter what the world plans against you, there is a greater plan that belongs to the one who created the world itself. You see, people will always scheme. They will whisper, they will backbite, they will slander. Sometimes they will smile in front of you and stab you from behind. At times, it will be those you trusted the most who break you. And in such moments, you feel a deep pain. Why is this happening? What did I do to deserve this? But the believer understands that even in this darkness, there is a light. Even in the treachery of others, there is the mercy of Allah. When they plot against you, remember Allah is the best of planners. Their plans may look strong, they may seem successful for a moment, but the plan of Allah is always greater. His justice does not shake, His wisdom does not fail, His timing is perfect, and His victory for the one who is patient is guaranteed. If you go through the pages of history, you will see that those who were closest to the truth were often the most attacked. The more honest you are, the more threatened people feel. The more sincere your intentions, the more they try to make them look suspicious. The more upright your conduct, the more uncomfortable they become. That is the way of the world. But don't let it shake your heart. You are not answerable to people who misinterpret your goodness. You are answerable to the one who placed that goodness inside you. So when people plan to harm you, to bring you down, to turn others against you, hold your ground, be calm, be sincere, be true to your values. Because when Allah's plan is on your side, no force on earth can defeat you. Do you not remember how many times in your own life you thought you were finished, that the world had turned its back on you, and suddenly Allah opened a door from a place you never imagined? That is not a coincidence. That is not luck. That is your Lord showing you that His plan overrides theirs. That is your Creator reminding you that He never abandons His servants who rely upon Him. You might be alone for a while. You might feel like no one understands what you're going through, but He knows. And the very people who plan against you will one day witness how Allah elevates you through the very trials they put in your path. So remain patient. Keep your connection strong with your Lord. Pray even when your heart is tired. Supplicate even when you don't have the words. Cry even when no one sees. Because the one who sees all knows what they're trying to do, and He's preparing something greater for you than anything they can imagine. There's a beautiful strength in knowing that you don't need to respond to every lie, that you don't need to run behind people trying to convince them of your innocence. Sometimes silence is more powerful than argument. Sometimes walking with dignity is more impactful than standing and shouting. When you know Allah is your defender, when you know His knowledge encompasses what's hidden and what's apparent, you walk differently, you carry yourself with peace. You understand that people's opinions change like the wind, but Allah's truth remains firm. And when you are sincere with Him, He brings the truth to light in a way that silences even your harshest critics. Now, let us reflect on something even deeper. When people plot against you, what do they usually aim at? Your character. They know your actions are good, so they target your intentions. They know your speech is wise, so they distort your words. They know you serve with sincerity, so they twist your sincerity into a story of self-interest. But you don't need to panic. You don't need to change who you are to please them. Your character, your truthfulness, your consistency, these are your strongest defenses. When people lie about you, let your integrity speak. When they exaggerate your flaws, let your manners correct their exaggerations. When they spread stories about you, let your life story contradict them. Because the truth has a way of rising, no matter how much darkness is piled upon it. You see, your character is not just for good times. It's for these exact moments when people are trying to misrepresent you, when you're being pulled into situations that you never asked for. These moments are where your real self is revealed. Anyone can have good manners when everyone is kind. But what about when you're being wronged? That's when you choose whether to act from your ego or your faith. If you respond to their lies with lies, you've become like them. If you meet their hate with hate, you've lowered yourself. But if you remain principled, if you remain noble, you rise. And that's where true honor lies, not in being praised by people, but in being proud of your own character when you stand before your Lord. Think about it. Every time someone lies about you, it's recorded. Every time you hold back from retaliating in an ugly way, it's rewarded. Every time you choose patience over provocation, you grow in ways they cannot see. And the more you grow, the less their words affect you. The more you trust Allah's plan, the less their schemes matter. So don't let the noise distract you. Stay focused on your mission. Continue doing good. Continue helping others. Continue building your legacy. Because those who spend their lives trying to destroy others end up destroying themselves. And those who spend their lives walking with integrity, even when no one sees, are raised by Allah in both this world and the next. Sometimes the people around you will believe the lies. Sometimes those you care about will walk away without even asking you for your side of the story. And that hurts. It feels like betrayal. It feels like abandonment. But even that is part of the plan. Allah removes people from your life when they are not meant to be part of your journey. He tests you by shaking your support system so that you lean on Him alone. He lets the masks fall so you can see who truly values truth and who chases gossip. And through it all, He is purifying you. He is making your path clear. He is removing distractions, removing false supporters, removing unnecessary attachments so you can walk with clarity and strength. Your duty is not to control people's opinions of you. Your duty is to remain truthful. Your duty is to keep your heart clean. Your duty is to make sure that when you stand before Allah, you have not harmed others in retaliation. Because sometimes the test is not how people treat you. Sometimes the real test is how you treat them when they hurt you. Do you hold a grudge? Do you seek revenge? Or do you forgive, move on and ask Allah to deal with what you cannot? That's real maturity. That's real strength. That's real faith. My brothers and sisters, there's a beautiful comfort in knowing that Allah knows everything. You don't need to prove yourself to every person. You don't need to explain yourself to those who don't care about the truth. You don't need to waste your peace on people who enjoy seeing you troubled. Instead, let your life be your response. Let your prayers be your weapon. Let your patience be your shield. And watch how Allah transforms the plot of your enemies into the means of your success. Watch how He allows their own traps to backfire. Watch how He writes for you honor while they drown in their own bitterness. And this is something that we must teach our hearts every day, that the battle is not always outside. The real battle is inside, when your heart wants to act in anger, when your mind wants to retaliate, when your pride wants to shout, but your faith tells you, wait, trust Allah, let Him deal with it. That's not weakness. That's discipline. That's control. That's you saying, I will not lose my good character for the sake of people who lost theirs. I will not throw away my values just to prove a point. I will not step into their mud to clean my name, because Allah is the one who purifies, not people. The beautiful thing is, when you live with this kind of faith, your heart is free. You're not weighed down by the opinions of others. You're not chasing people to accept you. You're not constantly trying to fix their perception of you. You are content, you are focused, you are peaceful. And that peace is a sign of trust in Allah. That peace is a sign that you understand the world is full of noise, but the only voice that truly matters is the one that calls you from above. One of the most painful misconceptions that many people fall into is believing that their hardship means they are being rejected by their Creator. That if they're going through difficulty, perhaps it's because they're not loved. That if things are falling apart, maybe they've been abandoned. But this is far from the truth. In fact, it is often the opposite. Sometimes The most beloved people to Allah are the ones who struggle the most, the ones who cry the most in the darkness of the night, the ones whose hearts are burdened with trials that the world cannot see. Their struggles are not a punishment, their struggles are a preparation. When Allah loves someone, He refines them, not destroys them. He purifies them, not punishes them. He elevates them by shaping them through hardship, because without struggle we become complacent. Without pain we become forgetful. But when we are tested, our hearts return, our souls cry out, our faith becomes alive again. It's easy to think you've been forgotten when you're in pain. It's easy to look around and wonder why everyone else seems at ease while you're drowning in hardship. But remember, Allah does not compare your journey to theirs. He is preparing you for something different. You are not being rejected, you are being chosen. The depth of your struggle may reflect the height of what He is building in you. The difficulty you're facing may be the exact thing you need in order to grow into who you're meant to be. You're not being broken, you're being reshaped. And what comes out after the struggle is always more beautiful, more powerful, more resilient than what existed before. Sometimes we pray and we expect ease immediately. And when that ease doesn't come, we become frustrated, we start doubting. But understand this, the delay is not a denial. The silence is not a rejection. When nothing seems to be moving, everything might actually be aligning perfectly. Allah sees what you don't see. He knows what's coming. He knows what's best. And sometimes the very thing you're crying to escape is the very tool He's using to strengthen you. If you had received what you asked for the moment you asked for it, maybe it would have ruined you. Maybe it would have distracted you, maybe it would have distanced you. But when He holds it back, He's not punishing you, He's protecting you. His preparation includes patience, and His wisdom includes waiting. Think of all the people who went through darkness before they reached the light. How many of them were tested in their wealth, their health, their families, their safety? How many of them were pushed to the edge, wondering when help would come, but they remained firm. They didn't take the silence as a sign of rejection. They understood that their Lord was closer than ever. And when the help finally arrived, it arrived in ways that made the struggle seem like a small price to pay. That's the beauty of divine preparation. It transforms your pain into purpose. It builds your soul quietly, deeply, powerfully, while the world sees nothing. But when the time is right, Allah brings forth what He's been preparing inside you all along. And during that time of preparation, you will face moments when you want to scream. You'll want to respond to people. You'll want to defend yourself. You'll want to explain your pain to everyone around you. But that's where the second lesson begins. There is a power in silence that the world doesn't always understand. When people mock you and you stay quiet, when people lie about you and you don't retaliate, when you're broken and instead of complaining to the world, you turn to Allah in silent tears, those moments are louder in the heavens than any words could ever be. Because your silence, when tied to patience and trust in Allah, is not weakness, it is strength. It is the strength of someone who believes their voice doesn't need to reach the ears of people because their heart is already heard by the Lord of all hearts. There are times when silence is the most powerful response. You don't need to rush to defend yourself against every accusation. You don't need to keep explaining your intention to those who don't care to understand. You don't need to fight every falsehood with noise. Sometimes you just step back and let Allah speak on your behalf. He sees what you are silent about. He hears the cries you've buried inside. And when He decides to respond, His response is louder than anything your words could have achieved. It silences your enemies. It corrects your reputation. It opens hearts that were closed. It turns situations around in a way that no argument could. And it elevates you in a manner that no worldly defense ever would. So when you're tired, when you feel like you've had enough, when your heart is raw from the injustice, remember that Allah is not unaware. The patience you are practicing in silence is writing pages of reward in your book. The dignity you're maintaining by not stooping to the level of your attackers is being witnessed. And the restraint you show when you want to respond with anger, but instead choose calm, that restraint is a sign of deep faith. It's easy to shout, it's easy to argue, but it takes strength to remain silent and trust in the one who sees all. Sometimes we believe that speaking out will solve everything, that if I just say this, maybe they'll understand, that if I just explain myself, maybe things will change. And yes, there are times when speech is necessary and truth must be spoken, but there are other times when silence is the most powerful act of worship. When you hold your tongue because you know that your words will only bring more harm. When you walk away from an argument because you know that victory in that moment isn't worth your peace. When you choose to be quiet, not out of fear but out of wisdom and trust, that is a silence filled with strength. And in that silence, something amazing happens. Your heart starts to speak. You begin to connect with Allah in a way you never did before. You realize that your dependence is not on people. It's not on justifying yourself to the world.